Good morning, Standard 10 students. Today I shall be teaching you the poetry, The Patriot by Robert Browning. Okay. Now, before I begin with the poetry, I will first explain what kind of a poetry this is. Now, this poetry, first, Robert Browning is one of the most popular poets of the 19th century, and The Patriot is one of his best works. And here, why it has become very popular, it is because The Patriot is a poetry which is called a dramatic monologue. Now, what is a dramatic monologue? Monologue is when only one person, mono means one, when one person speaks. So, in this poetry, the patriot is, or the narrator, is the speaker. He is the one who speaks throughout the poetry. So that is why it is called a monologue. He speaks in a dramatic manner because he is expressing how, in spite of doing so much for his people, they are the ones who had turned against him and they put him to death. So here, Robert Browning is trying to explain that the common people, okay, or the general public, they have got a habit of idolizing you as a hero. Today, they will consider you a hero, and if they are not satisfied with what you do, then you become a villain. Now you will observe many of these great celebrities or actors, actresses, singers, dancers, those who are public performers. Okay. They become very popular and everyone goes crazy, goes berserk for them. But then after sometimes what happens? The same people, they are not liked by the same crowd, the same general public. Then what happens? They lose their popularity. Then they become the villains. So even in the political scenario, what happens? The common people or the general public, they will make a leader to rise up. Then after some time, if they are not satisfied with his work, then what they do is they bring him down. He loses his popularity and he is lost and gone forever. Okay, it is very difficult for him to regain back his political career. So the main theme over here is about the injustice that has been done to the patriot and the fickle-mindedness of the general public. Okay, they are not the ones to be trusted. So now, I will just give it a slight change over here. So, like a TV serial, when they show you a kind of an episode, they take you 7 years back or 10 years back or 20 years later on when the baby was small, now the baby has grown big. Like that, I will take you to 1 year later. Okay. Now, the narrator or the patriot is talking about 1 year later. So, 1 year later means we have two parts. One is what took place before 1 year, and what is taking place after 1 year. Okay. So the poetry begins with what happened 1 year later, back, before, what happened 1 year before. So I shall start with the poetry with 1 year before. Okay. It was roses, roses all the way. That means on the path in which the patriot or the hero has to walk. So it was flowers were strewn on his, like we have myrtles and roses, decorated flowers were strewn on the path in which he has to walk. That is giving him a warm welcome. Okay. All the way, like we have the red carpet for the VIPs, like that flowers were strewn on his way. With mortal mixed in my path like mad. Means they were just like no business. There was plenty of these roses and myrtles. Okay. Like mad means uncontrollable or unlimited. The house roof seemed to heave and sway. Now there were people who had gathered on the rooftop. Now there were so many wanted to have a glance at him. So they had to climb up the roof of so many houses. And it appeared, now due to the weight of the people, it appeared as if the house was finding it difficult to hold that burden. And it was swaying to and fro. So, means here he is describing how they flocked, how they thronged the area just to have a glance at him. Something very similar to when people see these great celebrities and actors and actresses, how they go berserk, they go crazy. They start shouting and screaming. So like that, he says even the church spires, even the towers in the church, they were fully decorated with flags. Flame. That means it was infested or it was filled with flags in such a way, it appeared as if the church was on fire. A year ago on this very day, he's recalling what had taken place 1 year ago. This is the way he had been welcomed. The air broke into a mist with bells. He says there was so much of noise and cheering and all that. He says now the crowd, when a crowd walks, what happens? The dust flies up. And then the full area is covered with dust. So the poet compares, it's a metaphor, where the poet compares the way the dust was flying, it was compared to the mist that we see early morning during the winter season. It covers the places. You are unable to see. This is what happens when you follow the crowd, or when there is a crowd walking all together. What happens? A lot of dust is being scattered around. The old walls rocked with the crowd and cries. Now even the walls of the houses, they were cracking because the crowd was so much. They were howling and shouting and screaming at the top of their voice. They were so excited. They were so thrilled. They just wanted to have a glance at him. When they seen him, they cheered him up. And the crowd was uncontrollable. Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels. He says, now if I tell them, look, I am getting disturbed with your noise. I want you to be silent. Then silence would prevail. They were so much taken up by him that he is the hero. Even that uncontrollable crowd would listen to him. Now this is something very similar to the Bible. When Jesus Christ was moving on a boat with his disciples, he was sleeping, he was tired, and then there was a very rough storm and the boat was about to drown or topple over. When the disciples got very frightened and they woke up Jesus Christ and said, Master, there is a great storm. We will get drowned. And then he says, why do you fear when I am there? Then Jesus Christ stands up and he tells the strong wind, the storm, please be calm. And the wind or the storm obeyed him. So, like that, power the Patriot had. It means he could control something which nobody could do. Because the crowd was going mad, they were going berserk. But he had the power to control them. He said, the noise is irritating me, I want you people to be quiet. And they would listen to him. That was the power the Patriot had 1 year ago. But give me your son from yonder skies. So now if we had to make a request, means the impossible. Now to go and get the son is not a wise thing to do. It was not possible for you to go and get the son and wrap it up and give it to him as a gift. It means that the impossible thing. They mean that they could do anything for him, even at the cost of their lives. So much they had admiration for him. They could do anything for him. And they had answered. And afterwards, what else? Means they were ready to do any difficult things for him. They were ready to do anything which is impossible. So the first two stanzas are telling us how he was appreciated, how he was admired. Okay. So now I will send you another recording of Act 3, Scene 1 is completed. So I'll see how much I could complete and then I will send the remaining to you. Okay. So thank you. I will send some notes from this chapter for you to write.